Hey there, welcome to my YouTube channel, Motivation for Regular People. My name is Brady Ross, and today I'm going to expose 5 myths about motivation that far too many people believe are true. Since motivation is such a popular buzzword, you may be carrying some misconceptions about motivation that are holding you back from reaching your potential. Once you develop a better understanding of what motivation is and how it really works, you'll find a deeper sense of empowerment and you'll be one step closer to reaching your goals. So let's look at some common limiting beliefs about motivation. Number 1, the belief that motivation is constant. This myth is easy to pinpoint. We see people in pop culture or on social media who are doing amazing things, and we assume that they must hit the ground running every single day. We don't feel like we can measure up, which leaves us wondering if we should even try. This is a false narrative. In reality, motivation is way more complex. You'll have days where you're wondering where your motivation is and why it hasn't showed up. You'll experience random increases in your motivation, as well as moments where you feel drained and you wonder if your motivation will ever come back. When you recognize that motivation is volatile, while also remembering that you have more control over your motivation than you might think, you'll know how to attack those days when your motivation feels lower than usual. You'll form consistent habits, you'll celebrate small daily wins, and you'll build in systems of accountability that keep you from falling off the rails. The next myth is that motivation eliminates the need for discipline. It seems like there's a lot of people that don't like the word discipline. And I get it. It feels like a negative word. Maybe you hear discipline and you think about consequences, or you think about a regimented life that is never spontaneous or fun. It's true that discipline requires effort and that it's not always easy, but it's also true that a disciplined life can be incredibly fulfilling and enjoyable. In fact, discipline enhances the power of your motivation by making it more practical and actionable. Let's say you feel motivated to lose weight. That's great, but practically, what does that look like? If you take this goal a step further and bring in discipline, you'll start forming healthy habits like going to the gym and eating the right foods. Your motivation to lose weight manifests itself in this discipline in a way that serves you well and accelerates your progress toward your goals. Another myth about motivation is that motivation guarantees success. If you're anything like me or anything like the average person, you probably love being in control. We're hardwired to function this way. We like things that are black and white. We like situations where there's a predictable outcome. Unfortunately, life almost never plays out this way. Sure, motivation can increase your chances of success, but at the end of the day, it can't guarantee anything. You won't be able to achieve your goals simply because you feel motivated. Success requires a complicated recipe of motivation and habits and resources and timing and external circumstances. I love Stephen Covey's teaching on the circle of concern and the circle of influence in his book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. So in case you haven't read it, the circle of concern includes all the things that we are concerned about but ultimately can't control. On the other hand, the circle of influence includes all the things that we have control over. Success doesn't fall entirely into either circle, meaning that we don't have full control or influence over our success. However, motivation does fall within that circle of influence, meaning that we can enhance our chances of being successful when we take steps to control our motivation. The fourth myth is that motivation is always positive. Like many people, I tend to think about motivation from a purely positive standpoint. And it's true that feeling motivated usually feels good because we feel energized to take some sort of action. However, that motivation doesn't always come from a good place, and it doesn't produce a desirable outcome every time. Keep in mind that there's nothing about motivation that is inherently positive or negative. Motivation is a complex and dynamic spectrum. Sometimes you'll feel motivated to do something positive, but that motivation actually comes from a negative source. Maybe you want to help someone, but it's not because you value that person, it's because you crave external validation. While that motivation may help you get started, you're not going to have the same sense of fulfillment or satisfaction if your expectations aren't met, or if you're not able to produce that outcome every single time you do something good for someone else. So to keep our motivation in check, we should always approach our motivation with curiosity, and maybe we even challenge our motivation from time to time. When you feel led to do something, ask yourself why. What's leading you to make this decision? What's at stake if you don't follow through? The last myth that I want to discuss is the idea that everyone experiences motivation in the same way. Let me clarify something here. I believe that we all have the same amount of internal motivation. Motivation plays a role in everything that we do, and so although each person uses motivation differently, we're all pulling from the same supply. At the same time, this doesn't mean that everyone has the same attitude about motivation, and it definitely doesn't mean that everyone finds motivation in the same things. What motivates me may not have the slightest impact on you. The way that you understand motivation could be entirely foreign to me. And ultimately, what matters is not having a traditional or normal view of how motivation works. What's important is that we become deeply aware of how we're motivated so that we can leverage the power of our motivation in a way that helps us reach our goals. If you want to learn more about motivation, check out this video I made on how to naturally increase and decrease your motivation. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you have easy access to all our future videos.